So, action activate.
Oh, yeah. What's going on? It's me, Gazbot, for ActionActivate. And if I'm here, then with me, as always, is
the big Dawg Defender. Woof, woof, woof. I sure do love ActionActivate.
Well, that's true, big dog. You big silly.
Woof, woof.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I made a mistake. Here he is for real.
Hey, it's me, the big dog. I love ActionActivate. Woof, woof.
Boy, that was a great impression of my sock you did there.
I wish I had like a better color to just like mimic that, but then I looked, I'm like, there's no way I could do a word.
That was a very last minute. I literally saw my sock on the floor and I'm like, here we go.
What's up, everybody? It's us. We're here for episode 10. So before we dive in, I am great at reviewing things, which is why I prep accordingly by watching a different episode to talk about the episode we're supposed to today, because I definitely double-checked my notes, and we're good to go again.
Yes, and in all fairness, I watched this episode, 2 weeks ago now, in preparation for episode 9. Luckily, I took notes as well, so we're both basically going to be going off our notes, but we are going to have it playing on the side background here. I'm going to actually hit play right now. So, obviously, we're going to have... Oh, I didn't share my screen there, so I'm not doing that very well at all. Do you like the blank screen? Does this jog some memories for you, big dog?
Yeah, it's like looking at my soul in a mirror.
Dark. All right, this will be better.
Yeah, it is funny, though, that we both watched it 2 weeks ago, so now it's like, oh, yeah, I guess, we're thinking about it with the same hindsight lens.
Yes. Well, in a way, that's good because, at least for me, I had started doing the review, the first couple minutes of it, and I was worried I'd basically be repeating everything I said, but now, well, I still might, but it would be because I didn't remember what I said.
As the intro plays, initial thoughts, what's kind of your overall beginning review?
I liked this episode, and what I had originally said, what was it called? Phoning home. Let me pause here. What I had originally said was that when I thought this was the episode after the hiatus, I was like, this was a good episode to come back to after the hiatus.
Yes.
When I watched episode 9, I was like, this was not a good episode to come back to after the hiatus. But generally, I liked this episode. Yeah. You?
I liked the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love all of the main heroes. And overall, I thought it was an all right episode. It wasn't my favorite.
Okay, well, let's talk about the villains. We see this character, which at first I thought was Boom Tower getting rebuilt because it was similar kind of colors and stuff. And they're talking about sporks and the robot always like, oh, when you put a sporks in a robot, it lets it grow. Like they're bringing that back up again, which when we did the last review, like it seemed like we're like, oh, they're wasting them all. But really, it had only been Boom Tower that they had done that with. All the other sporks could grow.
Yeah, well, because Boom Tower did it, and then they're like, oh, I guess that's a thing.
Yes. But the big news, which of course everyone knows now, is that this character, is it Slither or Slither? It's Slither, right? Slither, yeah, because he's sly. Is voiced by the one, the only, the incomparable
Campbell Cooley.
Campbell Cooley, that's right. Welcome home to PowerRangers, where Campbell Cooley has done a voice every season since the beginning of time. No, not since the beginning of time, but since Overdrive, I think. And continues his streak unbroken, and also is continuing a streak of doing a main character for at least 4 seasons? Ninja Steel, Dino Charge, at least 3. What?
Beast Morphers?
Beast Morphers, yeah. So at least 4 seasons. There he is. At least 4 seasons, main characters, and in general, like, again, since Overdrive. I want to address something that we did in the last review, because we got a little bit further than this before you realized, oh, this is episode 10.
Yep.
You said something like, oh, yeah, I didn't remember him turning into Void Knight. But you should have remembered that character at all if you hadn't watched this episode, because he didn't show up until this episode.
Yeah, I didn't watch episode 10 when you were talking about episode 10.
Right, but but you said I don't remember him turning into Void Knight. Maybe you just said you didn't remember there being 2 Void Knights.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What did you think of? Because I kind of already talked about this, and that was the other thing. Because I was talking about what I thought about Slither and Campbell's voice and everything, and you were like agreeing and talking, and then you're like, I haven't seen this. Like, so like, what did you think of? You're like, I don't know. I'm like Ninja a little bit, right? And you're like, I guess. So yeah. What was going through your head when I was describing this character?
That I somehow like was wrong when I wasn't wrong. Like right. I was like, did I watch the right thing? Like, what is he talking about? Like, I don't understand this at all. And
but you were going with it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we're live. So the one thing that bothers me in media, and this isn't a knock on this episode, but I hate when there's a copycat character that without hearing or seeing mannerisms of a person, they just like get it. And I get you do it for production reasons. Like, I'm not knocking that. It's just something that frustrates me from like a power level of like, I'm an exact impersonator. It's like, okay.
Do you think he should have observed Void Knight a little while before he was able to impersonate Void Knight?
Or he could turn into Void Knight, but then you hear Campbell like try to do his best Void Knight impression. You know what I mean?
I agree that it's production reasons and time constraints, but I also think I guess this again where a thing where it bothers you more than it bothers me. And again, not even I think you're wrong. But my assumption is if it was like a human that's like, I'm a quick change artist or I'm an impression artist, then yeah, well, you need to study this person and figure some stuff out. This is a robot that is alien technology at the very least, but potentially magic as well. So I'm like, it's just a magic spell of like, you know, point to that person, boom, I'm that person. Like, I don't think it's like an impression. I just think it's like a spell.
But then if it's a spell, how do you know what they sound like?
No, you don't have to. It's like I'm imagining I get a ring, let's say, that gives me the magic power to copy anybody. I don't have to know what they look like. I don't have to know their mannerisms. I don't have to know their voice. The ring essentially scans them. Technology, magic, whatever you want to call it. It knows everything about them. It scans their vocal cords and everything. So then, boof, I'm a perfect copy. And it moves my body and gives me the mannerisms they need to fit. You know, I'm still in control. But so like, even though I haven't heard their voice, I'm not doing an impression of their voice. My voice changes into their voice.
That's fair. That's a fair explanation. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So we find out.
Well, wait. You didn't talk about the voice. I had talked about it before. For those who didn't watch the last episode, the wrong episode that I messed up. Essentially, I said it reminded me of Ninjor mixed with the Dino Charge mecha voice. And kind of like that same, but more sinister, like still kind of a showman and still kind of fun, but like I'm a bad ninja, you know, with a little bit of a flair of like a magician on stage. And I dig it. And it's that combined with some of the lines he gives makes it one of my favorite Campbell voices we've heard yet, to be honest.
I liked the voice. I still think my favorite Campbell voice is Scrozzle, followed by what's his name? Cosmo Royale.
Cosmos Brigade. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, just because those are so striking, this is not in any way a bad voice. It's just like he's meant to blend in. And the reason I love those other two is because they're so over the top. So it's not a knock on this character as a whole. It's just I like how, you know, showmany the other two characters were.
I guess I agree with you with Cosmo Royale. He's very over the top, very showmany, seems very fun. Scrozzle I like a lot, but I don't think he's over the top. I think he's a little bit campy and a little bit like character actory, which I guess is true of a lot of Power Ranger characters. But I don't think he's very over the top.
He's over the top in the sense of like the nefarious scale. Like if you were like, show me a nefarious character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I guess I'm mixing the character with the voice because like, you know, Ninja Steel is not my favorite season. So even though that's a good voice, it's not like, that's not one of my favorite characters. On the flip side, I like Snide a lot in Dino Charge, and Campbell does a great job, but that's not one of my favorite of his voices. But even though like I like the character arguably more than I like his voice, whereas the flip side is true of Cosmo, where I like his voice more than I like the character. I feel like this is one Scrozzle without doing a whole lot of digging through all of his catalog, is right at the top for me.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this guy has the potential to displace Scrozzle is my personal favorite for 2 reasons. One, again, the show I like and the character I like more than maybe some others, and the zippy puns and the goofy, the ninja-esque nature of him. The character I think I like. And that was 2. I blended. 1 is just the quality of the character in the show and all that stuff. But 2 is that I do like over the top goofy characters. Yeah. And Cosmo is that, but I feel like this guy he's just hitting some button where because Cosmo was just a performer. This guy is like a bard with a sword. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm over the top, but I gotcha. Like he has some teeth behind him. So I just find him to be delightful.
This guy has a metaphorical twirly mustache.
Yeah. So and he hasn't displaced Scrozzle yet, but I see the potential there.
We'll see. This next part I hated.
Yeah, I did not like this part.
Yeah.
I like that Zato has his antenna out when he's being casual.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zolan makes him she's trying to make him food she found in the database, and it's dog food.
It's cosmic dog food.
Cosmic dog food. I didn't like it. And then the part where I hated it is, let me skip ahead here, is not, because that's like, okay, a mistake could be made. It's a dumb little joke, whatever. I didn't quite hate it yet. But when she says, I guess I should have known. Oh, no. Well, first of all, you're right. That's a little charming. The dog with the antenna is a little charming. I got to be honest. Do you hate that?
It's just one of those like plot holy things where it's like, yeah, it's just like Earth. We just all have antennas and can read feelings.
It is very like goofy, arguably lazy, whatever, but it is kind of charming, like at the same time. Like I think it bothers you more than me. But the part that really bothered me, going back to the Earth thing and the mistake Zolan made, is she says like, oh, I guess I should have known when the dessert was this big bone or whatever she says. And that's stupid. That is absolutely stupid because, okay, their dogs also like bones. This bone is bigger than his arm. What's going on? Where did she get that bone? How did she not realize? So like the whole thing was sort of like, maybe I'm okay with it until she pulled out that bone. And then I was like, this is dumb.
Everything about it was terrible. I honestly forgot about the bone moment just because I was like, whatever. So right here, Zolan goes, hey, maybe people are on Rafcon. Let me reach out to the stars and see.
Yeah.
I like that.
This isn't the first time they've done that.
I know. Okay. I like that Slither catches onto that and hatches a scheme.
Yes.
I hate everything that ensues with this plot point.
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm forgetting things because honestly, I forgot about that dog food bone joke until we just got there. The signal starts going out with like these old timey ring things. Oh, there it is again. Oh, every time I cut to so there's Slither catching on. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I like him, but
I like him too. Don't get me wrong.
But we cut to Buzz Blast, and why are we at Buzz Blast? Really? Why?
We're doing a review about cat stuff.
No, why though?
Because we work at Buzz Blast. Almost all of us.
Now, so my note says, because I take notes as I watch the episode the first time. And let me see what my notes said, because I remember having Buzz Blast cats. And I said it was bad, but not the worst. And then as it went on, it got worse. Here's the part that disappointed me greatly. The fact that they're doing this cat story, right? And there's a dog there. Immediately, I'm like, why is there a dog there? That's going to be a problem. It's a story about cats. Why is there a dog there? They never explain it. It's not like, oh, the dog's here for X. Just random dog, not just in the building, but in the audience. Why?
I feel like for how much you're panning on this, we're going to get a copyright strike.
I cut in and out, and I keep us on the side, and I don't have sound, and that seems to be saving us.
Okay. Also, you keep showing the worst parts of the episode, except for the Slither part. So she puts this collar on Jayborg that turns her into like a cat cosplayer, and then she gets chased by the dog. And
well, here's another thing. Before we even get to the chase by the dog, she thinks she's a cat, and it's supposed to work on anyone. It's like Jayborg is a cyborg robot, whatever. but you'll notice ears pop up. And I originally thought the collar went do and popped up ears. But no, they come out of Jayborg's head because later the collar comes off her and they go boop, 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 back in her head. So that means Jayborg either was built with retractable cat ears or has the ability to like alter molecules and create anything she needs. So either she has a really specific and stupid function or she's super crazy powerful. Which is it?
I don't care because I every time Jayborg's on screen, I expect to dislike the episode more. And I hate that they're doing this to us.
Yeah, so Jayborg literally thinks she's a cat, sees the dog, gets upset, starts hissing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. And then the dog runs after her. Why was the dog not on a leash? I don't understand what's happening. And then there's this, she's running, she's doing these little cat jumps. Now watch this person try to get the dog and they go, oh, never mind. I better not get the dog.
Yeah. I hate Jane. I hate Jayborg.
I do have to say though, I liked the little bit of business Jane did there where she was like kind of did like a stutter. There's some good physicality that Jane did there, but no, it's terrible.
You want to defend it so bad.
I do. I don't want to be negative, but it's like
it's awful. It's just bad. They just make them fill time with dumb stuff.
It's unnecessary. They can have side characters and comedic characters, and they don't have to be this. And we've both commented how they like just like I forget the showrunner's name now, but the new showrunner said like let's spread the comedy out more, and and they have like the Rangers have some funny lines, the villains have some funny lines.
Simon Bennett.
Yeah, I've met it. But they do still have these two like bulk and soul type characters, which it was said like that was an edict from Saban back in the day, and had to always have those or whatever. Which now that I think about it, that was said, and then it was like okay, Beast Morphers had them, but that was like a hybrid season. This one they shouldn't have to do it, but they are. But Saban's name is still on it, so maybe. But they had said,
yeah, he's still a producer.
But he had said something along the lines of we don't have to worry about that anymore. Something. But thinking back. I don't know why, but I was just thinking of the seasons in order recently, and I was thinking how Turbo into In Space, and then we went to Lost Galaxy, and Bulk and Professor Phenomenus went to Lost Galaxy and disappeared after a few episodes. The rest of Lost Galaxy, we didn't replace them with another comic sidekick. There were funny parts, and some worked, some didn't. And then we had, was it Lightspeed Rescue was next?
Yep.
And then Time Force?
Yep.
And again, there might have been funny parts, but there was no comedic duo in any of those. And what was after Time Force? Wild Force? Wild Force, arguably Jindrax and
Toxica.
Yeah. Arguably them, but I feel like they weren't any more goofy than any other villains and they worked fine. And, and so there were quite a few seasons under Saban where that wasn't there. So that now doesn't add up to me, the things we've heard.
Here's the thing. And this is making me go down another negative rabbit hole again, which, like you said, I don't like doing, but it's the only thing I can think of. If you have to have these characters in the show, what purpose do they serve? If it's to be funny, you're not doing it right. If it's to sell toys, you're also not doing it right because you don't have toys of them and you don't have toys of the other things you're trying to sell us. So I don't get why these bad decisions are just meant to be bad.
Agreed. And in one of the last videos we put up where we talked about how there's still no toys or whatever, they have now announced the Megazord. It's not out yet, but they announced it. Somebody said something like, well, we had shipping delays and COVID and all this other stuff. All true. But things have sort of straightened out. Now, I don't pretend to know the behind the scenes, but what I do know is that Hasbro, who owns Power Rangers and G.I. Joe and Transformers, other products has gotten to the shelf. It's not like so it can't be that. There might the fact that the Megazords didn't arrive in time could be true, but at some point it would have gotten here if it was made and ordered long enough ago. Yeah. And the fact that they're just now announcing it, I don't know, it's not just that. There's something else going on top of that. I'm sure that's a factor, but yeah. Oh, wow. All right. I was going to talk about, we're getting down a rabbit hole here that isn't about episode 10, but the reveal of the 5-pack so that you can only get Izzy and Javi in the 5-pack for the kids version of the toys. That is some BS,
right?
Yeah, for the kids mainstream thing. And they're saying, well, maybe they'll be released again later, but it's It's not cool, and it's a money grab. And even if they release them later, they're definitely positioning it as though like this is how you have to get them. And what is a kid going to wait like 6 months? And a lot of kids aren't going to have parents that want to spend $100 on a set, especially if they've already got a few. Whatever. It's terrible. It's not a good thing. It's not helping the fans. Boo Hasbro. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I don't know what excuse they want to go with of these not being out because episodes have come out. Other Power Ranger toys have come out by you guys, and thanks for not putting out toys that spoil the show, but also not putting out toys that are on the episodes we're watching right now. Three Rangers, one of which
they announced the Gold Ranger figure. They've shown it, so that's going to be coming out before Javier Izzy. They're going to be in the 5-pack on Amazon, but to the average kid, consumer, parent, gift buyer, as they call them, they're probably not even going to know they exist. So it can't be a spoiler thing because they're talking about the Gold Ranger figure before he's been on the show. Anyway, back to this episode.
Yeah. Let's go back to the good stuff.
Okay, they're training.
Yeah, actually, the training is cool. I kind of like it.
Me too.
I don't understand what the goal
I assumed it was like a capture the flag kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, it was. Okay. I was like, yeah, I guess it's a battle royale to capture the flag.
Yeah.
I still hold that Izzy is the best swordsman out of all of them, which is cool. And it's also funny. I don't know. I guarantee you this was unintentional. But it's cool that for the last two actually, for 3 out of 4 of the Dino seasons, the Green Rangers have always used a reverse grip with their blades.
I did not notice that, but that's cool. I'm a big fan of reverse grip. Have been ever since I played Force Unleashed, and one of the best Rangers ever, of course, has the reverse grip. Samurai Gold Antonio. Yep. And
hey, it's cool. It's striking. It's visually pleasing, and it's too bad you can't get a figure of her by yourself, huh?
Oh, that was the other thing with the 5-pack. All the figures they've released, the 3 they've released so far, have these weird weapons, which I guess are supposed to be power-up keys, although I'm not even sure if they are specific ones to the show or not. But they don't come with the what do you call it? The Chroma Saber, I think is what it's called. Anyway, in the pack, you could get the actual sword that they have in the 5-pack. Hasbro boo. Okay. We should have done an episode. We should have done an episode about that, but we didn't.
I'm just pooping on it.
No, I mean of all the reveals from that Ranger Day, because there was a lot of cool stuff like Phantom Ranger, but anyway. So the training is awesome, and then someone shows up, and you don't like this?
I have a huge problem with this.
Why?
Because how many aliens have shown up now?
Many.
2. To the Rangers.
Oh, 3, 4, 3. This will be the 4th one.
How is this the 4th one?
Void Knight, Zato, Mick, and her. That's 4.
I'm just counting Mick and her.
Okay, why don't you count the other 2?
Who have come to the base and been like Rangers, blah blah blah.
Okay, then 2. So
Mick shows up, clearly shows he knows about the Rangers and is not trying to fight them.
Yeah.
Everybody is cool with them, but Zato, who's like, I don't know, we should be cautiously, watching out for this person. Right. Now, this random person shows up and Zato's like, do you want these Ranger keys? Let's get you over in the base. You're part of the family. Look at those antenna. There's no way you're fooling me.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm about to say. You're right that he's making a mistake, but it makes sense because she presents herself with the antenna and he's excited. He's homesick and it's, oh my gosh, there's someone else in my home and that's so great. So he has a bit of a blind spot. So is it him making a mistake? Absolutely. But it makes sense that he has a blind spot. And the other Rangers are a little more suspicious, and especially Zolan, who's awesome. I like Zolan, despite the dog food thing, I like Zolan more and more the more I see her in the show, to be honest.
This, to me, as these episodes have progressed, they've just kind of turned Zato into adult, where all the other episodes...
Before he was a first grader?
Yeah, he was leading the way, telling the Rangers what to do. I mean, he was a stranger in a strange land, but he still knew what he was doing and led the team, and now he's just kind of there, is what I feel like.
I think you're being too hard on him. I think it's like if we saw a human after not seeing one for years and then thought our planet was devoid of life. And she's obviously like a senior officer or whatever you want to call it. Like, we don't know what his rank was. Maybe he's happy, like, oh, look, here's a general. I'm just a captain. You know, this is someone that could really help us and knows. And they have more advanced technology because time has marched on. And like, I think he's relieved and excited, and he's making mistakes because of it. But I don't think it's weird.
I think it's character regression.
I disagree. I think it's fine, and I think it makes sense.
Okay.
So, wrong. No, again, I don't think you're wrong about him making mistakes, but calling it character regression, I think, is a bit harsh.
I think he came out of the gate strong.
Yes,
and now
because he's a good fighter and he's a good squad leader, but that doesn't make him a perfect person with all the experience.
I'm not saying he has to be perfect. I'm saying, like, he hasn't contributed a lot lately. And if anything, this is another episode where it's like, oh, guess all's wrong. Like, everybody has them. I get it. It's Power Rangers. That's the name of the game. But to me, it upset me versus the episode with Mick, where this one, like, everything that could have gone wrong kind of did. And the Mick one, he was like, I don't know if we should trust this guy. He knows literally everything about Power Rangers.
But again, anybody theoretically could do some research and find out facts. It made sense that he was suspicious. He was a bit of a jerk. He was a bit too suspicious. And maybe, okay, there you go. There is character growth, because now he's like, you know what? I was a little too suspicious last time. Let me ease up this time. Oh, it's someone from my home planet. Perfect. You know, so I think it makes perfect sense. And again, is it him making mistakes? Yes. But does it make sense? Yes.
He also doesn't trust Zolan as much as he did, like, every other episode.
I think he trusts her. Well, this is also a trope you see a lot in sci-fi, where it's like the alien is like, I thought you guys were my friends. Like, oh, this person's from my planet. Like, you don't understand. Like, that's something you see all the time, where they like suddenly borderline turn against their alien friends in solidarity with their own race or whatever. And then they realize the mistake in that of like, oh, I know who my friends really are, and it has nothing to do with the antennas on my head. That kind of, like, I mean, it's a lesson we see in like serious drama, sci-fi movies, not just Power Rangers.
Similar to how you said this would have been a good return from a hiatus.
Yeah.
I feel like if you just cut and paste this episode and the other episode with Mick, it would have worked out better.
Coming back from a hiatus and seeing Mick would have been a great comeback, like to come back to that. But that was spoiled so long ago. I think it's better that they got it out of the way.
No. I'm not saying like having to be like a return from a hiatus. I'm saying like how you think that would have been a good change. They could have left this as episode, or turned the other episode to episode 10 and moved that one to episode 8. And I think story-wise it would have flowed better.
Maybe. I had a note in the base about Arla's psychic power. Zolan's suspicious. I think I don't remember why I put that. Maybe I was like, why don't they just test her psychic power? Or she knows something and like, does she have a psychic power? I don't remember why I made that note. Do you remember why I might have made that note?
Because she tries to prove that she's from RAFCON by like shaking hands with people and like doing everything. And then Zolan's like, why don't you shake my hand? And she's like, oh, I'm so tired. Why don't I go to bed? Because she just watched all of them train and then picked up on like traits from all of them where she could fake it.
That's true. I do like this part. I just put on the closed captions, which will be helpful. She's kind of saying you might need to upgrade your tech. And she's like, oh, my tech's awesome. And then music plays and it's Levi Weston.
I like that.
It's a little thing, but it's nice. And then Javi, being the musician, even says, oh, I didn't know you were into country music. So I thought that was a fun little nod and appropriate. Yeah. What do we got here? Why don't you take the lead for a minute? I kind of lost track of my notes here.
So Slither is trying to get out of being caught by Zolan.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I'm so tired. This is such a long journey, blah, blah, blah. Where's your bed? They're like, oh, here's the guest quarters. Kind of make yourself at home. So happy to be here. And they're like, okay, cool. Reveals that it's Slither. And then the plan gets initiated by Void Knight of, I'm going to create a big distraction, take the Rangers away from the base. You can then start to steal the Sporix that are in the base. And that was the plan all along.
Right. I have no real issue with any of that. I don't have any comments.
No, good plan. It was a very good plan.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. Then the Ranger hotline is used once again, which is nice. That for a change, it isn't Jay Borg and Jane using the hotline, because it seemed like for a while it was every episode. She calls the hotline. Here's Void Knight, as you had said before, like the general actually, fighting, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I also like how they kind of reintroduce the team roll call here. Like they give like a full, here's all of us, let's do it, which they hadn't done in a little bit. It's nice. You don't want this every single episode, but it's nice to bring it back once in a while.
Yeah. Again, giving credence to what you said, would have been really cool if we haven't seen you for a couple months.
Right, and that's why I had that note of like, oh, okay, this is like the reintroduction. Oh, okay. So then they have this fight, which it's unremarkable. It's fine. It's nothing especially good. It's just like, okay, here's about having a fight, whatever. I love this part where she gives Arla some food from her home planet. Now, the beginning part joke was kind of dumb, yeah, but I like that it had a reason for being there. Like what you were saying about Jane and Jabor. What's the reason? What was the reason for that joke? Could they have done it better? Sure. But she's like, here's some delicious food. And of course, it's dog food, as we know. And so, I don't know. I like that. You didn't like that?
No, I did. The initial joke was dumb. I think there's another way you could have done it, but it's a good way of turning a bad joke into a plot point.
Right. I also like that it's like, what kind of lady are you? And it's like, I'm no kind of lady. And then transforms.
Yeah. Really good move by Zolan. A, fights Slither. B, goes, hey, guess what? Boop, teleport out. What up?
Yeah. I also like, there's a lot of good jokes here. There's also where she's like, you're a stupid lizard. And she's like, I'm not a lizard. I'm a dino, like a dinosaur. Like, I don't know. That struck me as funny. And then this is where I think I first started realizing how much I like Slither's talking. Like when they start fighting, he starts saying what he's doing like a fighting game character. Like, watch. He's like, where is it? He's like, you won't get. He's like, jab. Oh, well, there's the teleport. Like you said, okay. Oh, sorry. There it is.
Jab. There it is.
Sweep the leg. Like, I thought that was really funny and finish. And I thought like that was funny for like kind of a one-off, but one annoying dinosaur. But yeah, sorry, I got ahead of myself with what I was talking about. But the teleport up was very good. Zolan's awesome. She's funny. She's spunky. She's great. His use of fighting game terminology while fighting was great.
Yeah.
And he doesn't literally do that the whole time, although it comes back a few times. But that sort of Spider-Man-y kind of attitude in a villain, I just found very appealing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, then.
The things that we like, we have nothing to say, and the things we don't, we have everything in the world to say.
Unfortunately, that's kind of true. I wrote here the Ranger fight. Oh, and he takes a little communicator. The Ranger fight after this, I like. I guess the other one, they kind of were setting it up, which is why it was sort of mediocre. But I like the cuts, the editing in this Ranger fight here. Oh, here it is. Let me show it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just quick pan, and it's like, clearly there's this action going on like all over, and they're just like, and I don't know, it's quick cuts and it's a fast fight, but a lot happens and a lot gets done. I don't know, I really enjoyed the way they did it.
The disintegration, I think, is a Sentai specific thing, which is why we don't see it very often for the Henge.
Oh, I wonder why. Because I mean, they're clearly not supposed to be like people that are being killed. So like, what difference does it make if they?
I think it's just extra CG they don't want to do.
Good call. So then we get back to the base, and they're like, oh, where's Zolan and Arla? What I like is that Arla Slither is smart because they're like, where's Zolan? And she's like, oh, Zolan didn't like me. She's going to leave or, whatever. I think she's still unhappy with me. Doesn't like me. And I thought that was smart because it's like, oh, I'm going to acknowledge a truth that she doesn't like me. And instead of pretending like, oh, we worked it out and she trusts me, it's like leaned into that to make the line more believable. I thought that was really cool and smart.
And then continue the doubt with Zato. So he's still kind of distracted as Slither's trying to, complete the ultimate goal.
But he does see her communicator and then redeems himself by like not being completely blind. But I did find it funny. Let me see. He grabs her when he sees it to read her mind. Let me see. Let me skip forward a little bit. I found this interesting. He grabs her arm and he sees the reveal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slither's a robot, though. They built Slither. They might have like magical pieces or whatever, but like, so Slither has so he could read robot minds, I guess. But is it a plot hole?
Yes.
Or is, okay. I wasn't sure because maybe he could read computer. Like, could he touch a computer and read a computer's mind? Then
no, I think it's plot hole.
Okay, well, regardless, he had a plot hole power he shouldn't have had, but he did figure out things correctly.
It could be a thing, maybe, I don't know. this is just a giant rabbit hole, but it could be a thing of like when Slither's in a human form, he can only read the mind of like the human member. I don't know, because he only saw that one thing. He didn't see the full plan.
Look, the same thing happened. He did the same thing where he teleported him out. That's pretty awesome. That's the one mistake that Slither made, was falling for the teleport out twice in the same episode. Yeah,
but good fight.
Are you melting? What's going on? You're like,
no, I'm watching here when you're cutting away to try to see.
I still have you on the screen though, so it looks like you're melting off the screen.
Got the Red Ranger fighting Slither, which I appreciate. Yeah. Put a MacGuffin key in, and we keep on MacGuffining.
He calls it the Hyper Dino key, which I think they've used before.
Yeah, that one. Definitely different from the other ones.
No, but I think, I'm with you, but I think the Hyper Dino key, they've used it before. I think it's the most basic key, is what I've come to understand. Like, it just like makes them more powerful. It doesn't give them a special anything. Just like, let's see. Let me apply, because I think
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I think literally when he does it, he just attacks, and it's like a stronger attack. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, he gets the armor. Okay, that's so you can have the alternate figure. Fine, Hyper Strike, and yeah, it just he's like, and it looks awesome. I mean, I gotta say that looks fantastic. But so kind of that one bothers me the least, because it is just sort of a power up, which they all eventually get. So I look at the Hyper Strike as the power up they get, and then all the rest of it is just whatever. And it didn't win
it's a key we found off screen a long time ago. Yeah.
No, I don't like the keys. I'm with you, but I'm saying the teams generally have a team power up, and if the Hyper Key, I think of it as the power up, it gets that armor. And I'm not gonna lie, if they had a figure that had that armor, I would probably want it because it's cool looking. And maybe you have a sword with like a translucent red blade or something, and that's the Hyper version. All the other keys on top of that just make it that much worse because it's never really explained, and they're like MacGuffin-y and little Deus Ex Machina. Just what do we need this episode? A chain? It's a chain, you know. So, but the Hyper Strike is the one that doesn't really bother me.
I feel similarly about all of them. I can't differentiate any of them, so they're all the same to me.
Okay, there were a lot of good jokes this episode, and here's another one. I forget what it was exactly. So he says something like, "Oh, is that all you've got?" And then he hits him and he says, "No, there's a lot more." And then Slither's like, "I've got a team," which I thought was a very leaderly, cool thing to say. It wasn't just like, "I'm strong," like, "I've got a team."
Yeah.
And he calls the team, and then Slither says, should I be scared?" Which is something you hear all the time.
Yeah.
But then he's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And it was good delivery. It wasn't like, yes. It was like, yeah, probably. Like, I don't know. I like, there was a lot of good comedy this episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is all the more reason why we didn't need that J-board cat thing.
If they wrote them out and gave us 2 extra minutes of fighting, I wouldn't be mad about it.
I would take 2 extra minutes of character development.
That too.
Yeah, I mean,
we get a good fight between the Rangers and Slither, and then we get the 5 Zord combination at the end of that fight.
Yes, but I need to pause because there's another joke I like. And I know I'm harping on the jokes, but we harp so much on when they get it wrong. I want to harp when they get it right. I like this henge fight a lot also. This is great. I'm assuming it's good. But he introduces himself as a new general and stuff. And then my review overwritten, which is mediocre. But what I like is he's like, he throws the henchman // then he throws him dodge shield, and he's using him noble sacrifice.
That was a good one.
That cracked me up. I thought that was great. The whole fight choreography is amazing, and the jokes, it was just, I loved it. So I guess that's the thing. There are some parts of this that I don't love. The Zato thing being too trusting didn't bother me as much as it bothered you, but I think way more good than bad in this episode as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's 50-50 right now.
I think it's like 75-25 for me.
Well, we'll disagree then.
Okay. Slither resisted the T-Fex Fury Strike, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And then
he turned power level.
Yes. Then he turned to do Rustafa, which since I watched this out of order, I'm like, who's this? Okay, I guess it's a new guy.
You're like, oh, it must have been from a Sentai episode. And we're just
right.
Okay.
But that also proves how, like, I didn't even need to have seen that other episode. Like, and kids certainly don't, because kids don't think about this as much as we do.
Yeah.
His first strike. Oh, the Zords. Okay, so they're calling the Zords. The Zords, the secret, they can't call them. because Solon, they call Solon and Solon sends the Zords. I'm like, how are we going to call him without Solon? Solon, rather. And Zato says, oh, I have a secret way to do it. And I think here it goes. He's like, oh, it's kind of embarrassing.
Oh, I actually really did like this part.
Did you? I hated this part. He has a secret code, Zord deployment override. And it's like, password, Zato is cool. Explain to me why you like that.
Because it's a kid show, and I appreciated how like blatantly dumb it was.
Okay, that's not why I don't like it. Why I don't like it is because Zato has been in suspended animation for 65 million years. The Zords are 65 million years old. So 65 million years ago, his code word was Zato is cool.
The same reason you apologized for a dog with antennas on it from a different planet 65 million years ago, I'm going to apologize for that being a joke.
Except that it is possible on this planet of aliens that look just like humans except for aliens, they might have dogs that look like dogs except for antennas, rather. It's impossible that he knew the slang term cool 65 million years ago and then was awoken in a sliver of time when cool would be appropriate again.
No, he started it and then it came back full circle 65 million years later.
That's the best explanation. No, you don't get an ninja steal. You just get a laugh. But I'll leave it at that. That's a fair enough. He's the ultimate trendsetter.
He is.
So yeah, as you said, they do the 5 Megazord combo. And they do it's an instant Megazord too. Just boom, here we go.
Yep.
And then they use the sun to blind him, I think, right?
Yeah, they do some weird power up where they like turn this building into like a shiny and then blind him, and then they get him on the ground, and then they fight him straight up, and then he's like, oh, you'll never destroy this Ferris wheel behind me, and they're like, yeah, we don't have to. Woo.
But that seemed weird to me too, because I felt like, and again, maybe it's a Sentai thing, maybe not, but I felt like, oh, maybe there's like they knew his weakness was like being blinded or something. I don't know. Like why was that the thing? It reminds me of when they use the keys, where it's just like, oh, I know to use this key for some reason. Like, I don't know, just kind of was an odd choice.
I want to say it played into how they beat him last week, but I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember either. Well,
I think that was part of it. They're like, oh yeah, we have to blind him when he's up high. Here you go.
I will say that the movements matched again, which I said last week. Again, I don't like these cockpits, but if you're gonna do it, have the movements match, and they did. They had like a kick and a slash. Okay, here's the stupid energy.
Slick and shiny.
Yeah, and he immediately crashes. That's kind of silly.
Is that it again?
But I do like if they're gonna use this cockpit. I think they're gonna do it right here. They all do the tiger slash the sword. Then they do a bite blast, and it's like a flaming punch. Yep. I think and then the drill, and it's a drill. So like it matches. I still think it's creatively lacking, but I become kind of disappointed as opposed to angry.
And then in the middle of this fight, we all get the question answered that we were wondering: where has Jayborg and Jane been? I hate this. I hate everything about it. It's terrible.
Yeah, there's a part I forgot. There's a few things I hate about this. I mean, beyond just okay. Let me back up here a second. When she finds her, she still thinks she is a cat, so she's acting like a cat, but she's also acting like a cartoon cat from the 80s or 90s.
A cartoon feral cat.
A cartoon feral cat. Yeah, not even a domestic cat. What's in her mouth there? Now, that is a fish bone because that's what cartoon cats have. That is an obvious big rubber fake fish that doesn't – it's – anyway, that I don't like. And then – this is where I noticed the ears. When she gets the collar off, watch the ears. The collar comes off, and then the ears retract afterwards, which, again, brings up questions about her design. Why was she built with ears? Or does she have the most powerful ability on the planet?
Individual.
What?
Andrew Hartford is a demented individual. That's why.
I prefer to think that she can just reconstruct molecules to be whatever she wants. And
I think he is a sick human.
All right. The possibly worst part of this whole thing is coming up for me. And maybe it's because I'm a cat owner that it bothers me even more. Jayborg, are you okay? And she starts coughing up a hairball. Now, I will say again, the actress is doing a great job of like doing a great job of the way cats do this. But what comes out is a hairball.
That isn't red.
It's not red. It's not slimy. It looks like two pieces of black cotton. There are so many reasons this is wrong and not funny. They get so gross on these shows. Why not have her go like whack and have a big slimy red puke ball land on her face and jacket? That would have been funnier. I'm not saying I want to see it, but it would have been the joke, and it would have been the gross out little kids like this kind of thing. This just makes no sense. It's not how hairballs work. And so theoretically, she's like grooming her. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she licked her sweater. Now that I'm looking at her sweater's black, maybe she's supposed to have licked her sweater. It's terrible.
No explanation.
And then she's frozen.
I just feel awful for whoever plays J-Borg.
I like the actress. But
No,
and I feel like,
cool. She's just given awful material.
I agree. I feel like this is, I guess this is the way my apologetics, our apologetics have gone. Often don't like the comedic characters despite liking the actors.
Same.
Is what I find happening. Which is unfortunate because it's like, well, clearly, yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. But yeah, I think she did a really good job pretending to be a cat hawking up a hairball that wasn't a hairball.
Yep. So they get the Nerf sword that isn't sold in stores.
Correct.
They do the final strike. They beat Slither, surprise there, and then shocker, pun intended. He falls into power lines.
Yeah.
Which I guess. And then he
says,
falls in front of them, and they're like, "Oh, we should leave, and your breath smells like bad fish."
Can androids eat?
Who knows?
Does she? Because if she thinks she's a cat and is ingesting organics, but isn't designed to do that, isn't that going to like gum up her works? And
what I want to happen in the finale of this show is J-Borg goes full Raised by Wolves, and then it's just over.
Have you been watching Raised by Wolves?
No, but you showed me that episode. No,
okay.
That could happen.
That's not going to make sense. Anyone? Oh, see, this is tough.
It's a deep cut. It's meant for few.
Okay, yeah. If you haven't watched Raised by Wolves, I don't want to explain it. And if you have, then you understand.
And then at the end, it's just going to say directed by David Lynch.
What? David Lynch didn't do Raised by Wolves.
No, but he would, do something like that if he directed an episode of Power Rangers.
Okay. Slither loses his memory, which is fine with him. He was defeated. He fell.
Sure.
Electricity. He's a robot. That works fine. And he's like, "Who are you?" And I like that Mucus is like totally ready to take advantage of this. And like,
yes.
"Oh, you're going to be my friend." And, I like that has some side plan that isn't going to have anything to do with taking over the world, or it might, but really it's just wanting to have a friend. And I like that. I say, yeah, you really hate me. I mean, you really hate mean people. But androids have nausea because there's talk of being nauseous. And just like androids, okay, whatever. Never mind. That was from earlier. Androids make no sense. Robots make no sense.
Yep. We're meeting on a planet under the Cape 4.
And then Solon forgives Zato for making mistakes, and everybody's happy again. More good than bad. I think it's 75% good, 25% bad, and most of the bad is the bad comedy. The Zato stuff really doesn't bother me the way it bothers you, I guess is.
I think kind of like when we went into the show initially, you had it at a high standard, and I came in a little more lax. I have Zato to a high standard. You're a little more lax when it comes to Zato.
Okay. Well, so I mean that's pretty much it. What do you give this episode?
A C tops.
Wow. I think it's a solid B.
Okay.
I think it's a solid B because every episode almost has bad comedy. So that's a given, unfortunately. The Zato stuff didn't bother me. I like Slither as a character. I think it was a good introduction. I think it's interesting that after introducing him, they're already changing him. I think there was a lot of good comedy. I wasn't bored. That was something I posted on the Facebook page. Somebody was talking about they did a rap. They had just watched Ninja Steel. They're like, "Here's my impression of Ninja Steel." Blah 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 blah. And essentially, they were like, "It's not as bad as I thought it would be, and there are some bad jokes, but it's just kind of generic and boring." And I kind of agree. There are arguably worse seasons, but I would rather watch a worse season because even if it's like technically worse, it could be funny or enjoyable, or you go like, "What the heck?" Whereas a lot of Ninja Steel, you're sort of like, "Oh, I'm just watching this," So, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So I was not bored with this episode. Is my point.
I accidentally watched episode 11 today in preparation for today.
That's fine. We're gonna do 11 anyway. But yeah.
I liked this episode better than 11.
And you didn't love this episode. Well, that brings us to our next point of order. So we're gonna do 11 probably next week, and then 12 is supposed to be up, but it isn't yet. So when 12 is up, we will do 12. Then, other than next week doing 11 and 12 when it goes up, what are we doing?
So other than that, we have discussed this both in Gazbot's vlog, just him, and then off screen, him and I. But in regards to kind of our ActionActivate hiatus, we're going to just kind of let it be a hiatus for once instead of trying to fill week to week where we don't know what we're doing, and neither do you guys. We're just going to give it time to, A, let the show come back, B, let Gazbot and I kind of get back to some stuff and just kind of recharge a bit. But also just like, I mean, Ranger-wise, there's not a ton going on. The one thing I wanted to say is this came out last week. If you guys are reading the comics, Power Rangers Unlimited Edge of Darkness.
Sold out. They're already in a second printing. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are behind on the comics. It technically takes place after Power Rangers 8. If you read it and you're really far behind, it won't really spoil too much, I don't think. But it was good. Speaking of which, during hiatus, if anybody wants me to talk about comics again, tell me. I'm going to assume no one does. So if nobody does, I'm not going to do comic videos. But if you want them, I'm more than happy to talk about them.
The hiatus, if you want to blame anyone, blame me mostly. Well, no, you can blame Big Dog too. Let's say blame me because I'm the one that feels like I need a break from the workload. But then I can point my finger at Big Dog because I do all the work. So. but he's more than willing to keep doing videos. So we're gonna do 11, like I said, next week, and then whenever 12 comes out, we'll do that. And then we will be back when the new episodes come back. In between, we may decide to do an episode here or there. No guarantees, no schedule, just trying to take a break. But if you want to see episodes of Big Dog doing his thing, talking about comics or whatever, let us know, and he could make them himself, and I'll just throw them up. I have no problem doing that. Last time you guys said you wanted to see it, and he put them up there, and we did it, and there wasn't a huge turnout. So
not really.
So I'm not trying to make him feel bad, but I'm saying so we don't want to make him do work for no reason. If you guys actually want to see it and watch it, let us know, and he'll do it. But So a little bit of a bummer news, unfortunately, but that's where we're at. If really, like he said, I did a vlog video, which I know most of you don't watch, and it's about a whole bunch of rambling stuff, not just this. But if there are things that we are or are not doing that you think would make you want to watch more, you think more people would want to watch or whatever, if there are ways to improve and get more viewership or whatever, let us know, because we're open to criticism and critique. But yeah, like if I feel like we do our best and we try to get better and we get guests and we work for Power Morph on all this stuff. So I don't really know what more we could be doing that people might want to see. But if there is something else, let us know. Because we're kind of at a crossroads where we've been doing this for over 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And it just sort of feels like we've hit a bit of a plateau, and it's a lot of work behind the scenes. Like, it's hours and hours of work, which I don't mind doing because I like this, but I don't know. It's hard to justify sometime when I should be working on art or doing other things, you know? Mm-hmm. So if we could do better by you guys and thereby you guys do better by us, great. Let us know.
Yeah. And it's a thing too, like in our previous hiatuses, just because this show mostly revolves around when new episodes come out. Right. And then it doesn't. And that's kind of how our show kind of got its kind of flair was, we're doing this random thing, and some things you guys like and some things you don't. And that's fine. We just don't know what that is. So instead of kind of throwing something at the wall and seeing if it sticks, we figure kind of no news is good news, and we can just, focus on other stuff so we can be even better when we review whatever next episode comes up. But yeah, I mean, if you comment on old videos or this video or whatever, we're still on here. It's not like we're leaving. It's just instead of on Tuesday mornings or Monday nights going, hey, what are we doing tomorrow? We're just not for a bit. And also full transparency, I'm gone half of August out of town anyway without any service. So
is that the first half or the second half of August? Just out of curiosity.
Middle.
Okay. Because aside from the hiatus that we want to take, he's going to be gone for half or the middle of August. The last 2 weeks of August, I have 2 conventions I'm doing as an artist, Godzilla conventions, for 3 days each. So August, on top of everything else in life, is going to be not a good month for either of us to be doing shows. So it's also a good time to take a break.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I leave, and then I get back, and I go, hey, Gazbot, what are you up to? And then he goes into super duper busy.
Yeah. So if by some weird thing the show comes back from hiatus in August, we're not going to be back in August. So, well, again, we're going to be back next week. We're going to do 11 and 12, and then we're going to be gone for August and come back when the show comes back. And we'll probably repeat this next week too. I was going to say tomorrow, but it's not tomorrow. It's next week.
But yeah, keep commenting. We do appreciate you guys commenting. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and we do enjoy the conversations. But other than that, that's it for today. I have been the Big Dog.
I have been Gazbot.
And to the
power. I think we should not talk over the credits this time.
I mean, if we're going to leave people without ramblings over the credits, we got to just do it as much as we can while we can. That's what I say.
So you think we should... See, I was thinking we should like exit gracefully and classy and not talk over it. Also, we're still calling it credits, despite the fact that not one credit plays during that sequel. Well, I guess the title screen comes up, but it's not even like your name and my name. Nothing. Just no credits.
Maybe post hiatus, it'll just say end credits.
Yeah. I think originally I had planned on putting your name, my name, any supporters or like, the guest or whatever. But I was like, I'm going to have to change it every week. I'm not going to do that. And then I just put nothing. So.
Maybe we can put social in it sometime in the future.